Before Katie could answer, Christy heard a gentle tap against her window. She looked at her friend's terror-stricken face as Katie moaned, "Oh no, too late." Christy turned to see Rick Doyle's smiling face peering in her window. Quickly sitting up, Christy smiled back and pressed the button to roll down the window. But of course it didn't work because the engine was turned off. Without thinking, she opened her car door and bashed Rick in the knees. Rick, ever the athlete, absorbed the blow as if she had only tapped him. "Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay, Rick?" "Sure." He looked past Christy to the curled-up elf in her passenger seat. "I thought I saw Katie." "Rick," Katie said brightly, pulling herself up. Her hat tilted all the way to one side, and she looked pretty silly. "I was just, I lost the contact." "Lost contact with your home planet is more like it," Rick teased. Katie smirked. "Har, har, har. I forgot what a funny guy you are, Rick Doyle." Katie had never been a fan of Rick's. Even when he was voted most popular last year at their high school, Katie had written "as if" across his picture in her yearbook. "Yeah, I'm real funny," Rick said. "Too bad I don't have a pair of green tights and some alien ears so I could be as funny as you, though." "I happen to be an elf," Katie stated, gathering her things and pushing open the car door. "And I'm proud of it. I also happen to be late for work, so if you'll please excuse me." Katie slammed her door and hurried into the mall. "I need to get to work." Christy looped her small leather backpack over her shoulder. Rick held the car door for her, and she slid out. She was only inches from him. They hadn't been this close since they dated a few months ago. Why is Rick being so friendly all of a sudden? What's he up to? Christy wondered. "Mind if I walk you to work?" he asked. "Or would that make you feel uncomfortable?" "No, not at all." Christy started toward the mall with Rick beside her. Why is he asking if I'm uncomfortable? Why is he looking at me so tenderly? "So, what brings you to the mall?" Christy asked, trying to appear casual. "Some Christmas shopping? Only 14 shopping days left, you know." "Oh, brother, Christy, do you know how stupid that sounds?" "Actually, I was on my way home from college for the weekend, and I remembered that you work on Fridays. I stopped by to see if you were here." "Well, here I am." Christy realized how nervous and ridiculous she sounded. But how was she supposed to interpret Rick's sudden appearance, as if silence and tension hadn't existed between them ever since they'd quit dating? Rick smiled at her as he held the door open, and she slid past him. She didn't dare look up into his chocolate brown eyes. She even held her breath so she couldn't smell his familiar aftershave and be whisked back into a swirl of memories. She would be strong. She would resist him. The pet store was only a few yards away, and Christy walked quickly. It was as if once she hit the doorway, she would be in the safe zone, and he couldn't confuse her anymore. This is crazy. What am I thinking? For weeks, I've been telling Katie how much I wish I could sit down and talk with Rick to resolve everything. Yet, now that he's only inches from me, I'm running from him, just like I have since the day we met. With sudden boldness, Christy turned to Rick. I have to get to work now, but I have a break around 6. Can you meet me back here then? Rick grinned, but he was visibly surprised at her boldness. Thanks for the invitation, but I already have plans for the evening. I'd like to get together sometime to talk. I'd like that too, Christy answered softly. Okay, Rick nodded. Then that's what we'll do. We'll get together sometime and talk. Is that why you stopped by to see if I was here? Were you thinking we could set up a time to talk? Actually, I told Doug I'd remind you about those cookies you promised to bake for us. Rick stuck his hands in his pockets and looked a little sheepish. Doug is, well, he's a cookie freak. I've seen him go into Oreo withdrawals. Christy smiled at his joke. Doug was a great guy. She had hoped that when Rick and Doug became roommates, Doug would have a good influence on Rick. It looked as though maybe he had. Doug also wanted me to see if